In this video, I'm going to give you several fun and easy ways to mix between genres. This is essential when playing at house parties or functions where you have to cater for diverse crowds. See, the key is to never be limited in your transitions to what you can comfortably mix, but instead you want to keep your focus on playing the right song for each moment, regardless of genre or BPM. No doubt, the easiest way to jump genres is to mix into the break of a track. Now, okay, I know, not every single track has a break, but I'm going to cover how to make your own breaks in a second, okay, using volume faders and actually effects, which is really cool. But let's say you are playing, and yeah, sure, maybe songs do have breaks occasionally, and that means there's a section in the song where maybe it drops out and there's like no percussion. And what that means is it drops out, there's a little gap there with nothing gone, maybe even some sounds, but because there's not a beat, you can mix whatever beat you want in on it. So let's give that a shot. In that last transition, you may have noticed that I hit play as soon as the chorus finished on that first beat. And that's really good if you want to keep the beat going. And it also demonstrated to you that I could keep the beat going and jump like, a big BPM, you know what I mean? Like almost 30 BPMs different, and keep that beat going and keep it relatively smooth, the flow, because I'm mixing into that break. But another way to mix into the break is to do more of an impact mix, and that means it drops off. And instead of just bringing a beat in straight away, just let it drop off a little bit and then bang. But I suggest if you're mixing like that, it's like an impact mix, come in with something that's immediately recognizable. Let me show you. And just feel it. So let's say you put it on a track and maybe it doesn't have a breakdown in the middle and there's no obvious place in the track to do a mix, and perhaps the song didn't even get the best response, or maybe you just want to play a certain part of the song to keep the energy moving. Well, the path of least resistance would actually be to simply fade out the track at the end of the chorus and then hit play on the new track. Now, I totally get it. Like, this is probably the easiest transition, but some people don't even think it's DJing, okay, because it's just fading out and putting on the next song. But when playing live, especially at house parties, track selection is king. So instead of like thinking, what can I do the perfect mix on and add all these effects or whatever, realistically, your main goal is to put on songs that people like. And in this case, let's say I've got a song on at 100 beats per minute, and maybe it's dragging. I doubt this song would drag, but I want to pick one that's actually pretty popular, that that's also very hard to mix out of. I remember back in the day, I used to struggle mixing out of this one. So that means if you can do it for this one, you can probably do it for any of them. But this one here is 100 beats per minute. I want to go into a song at 170, and let's say all of a sudden this song at 170 has been requested. I think it's going to go really well in this moment. Well, yeah, sure. In the upcoming examples, I can do all these different kinds of effects, and there's different ways I can approach it. But at the end of the day, don't forget your foundations, and that is song selection. And if there's not a gap, create your own. We could just like fade it out right near the end of the chorus and just hit play. Let me show you. I just hit play. I hit play a little bit earlier because I saw that there was just a bit there without a beat. But let's say if it did have a beat, well, then I might just wait for where the phrase ends, like where the first beat of the new verse is, and then hit play there. Let me show you. If you feel that's not enough, you can always add filters to the exiting song. I think the main thing to keep in mind here is to do the fade out near the end of the chorus, as the chorus is the main part of the song, the part that probably everyone's singing along to. So to cut that in half, it's going to sound pretty unnatural. So always respect the chorus. And I suggest, like for you, just sort of like fade out right the last couple of bars, right near the end of the chorus. So if there's singing in the chorus, they still want to hear every word of that chorus, but right near the end, it becomes a little bit thinner. Pull it out, bang, hit play on your new track. You can also add effects to the last couple of bars of the chorus. Now, one of the most common effects is echo. So in this case, I'm going to apply echo to the exiting track. Now to do this, select echo from the beat effects rack, or if you're using a controller, go to the effects section in your software and select echo. Then select the channel you wish to apply the echo to. So in this case, we'll choose channel 1, as this will be the exiting track. Then select the echo parameter. Now you can mix these up and you should experiment with all of them to just get a feel for them. But in this case, I'm going to use a 3/4 beat echo. Now, as an exercise, I would practice applying echo to the exiting track on its own without even doing a transition, just to get a feel for what the echo does. Okay, let's now do the transition. People often ask me, how far can you move your tempo fader while the track is playing without people really noticing? And the general rule of thumb is you can move your track plus or 5 BPMs from the track's original speed. So let's say you got a track at 90 beats per minute and another one at 100. You could meet them both in the middle at 95. And then once you've done your transition, you could slowly bring your new track back to its original speed. Let me give you an example.
Take it slow, but it's not typical. He already knows that my love is fire. His heart was a stone, but then his hands were on. I turned him to gold and it took him higher. But I'll be a daydream, I'll wear your favorite things. We could be beautiful, get drunk on the good life. I'll take you to paradise. Say you'll never let me go.
The Dalai Lama once said, first learn the rules so you know how to break them properly. Well, now it's time to break the rules. See, if you want to mix tracks that have big gaps in BPMs, that means over 5 BPMs each, like sometimes 20, maybe even 50, right? You are going to have to use sync. Now, the concept here is you have your master track playing at its original BPM, and then with sync on, you're mixing your new track, and while both songs are playing together, you adjust the BPM of the master track, and that changes the BPM of both tracks. Now, the goal is to move the tempo fader during the transition and try to get it as close as possible to the BPM of your new track whilst making the mix sound natural, which honestly, that can be difficult when moving the tempos over 20 beats per minute, okay? So keep in mind though, you don't always have to move the tempo fader all the way to the new BPM within the length of the transition. So for instance, let's say I'm playing a track here at 120 and I'm gonna mix in a hip hop song at 100 beats per minute, and that's 20 BPMs different. I might not move at the full 20. Maybe I go to 107, so I've moved at 13 beats per minute for the transition. And then once my new track's in, if I really want to, I could then slowly move the tempo fader closer to its original speed. Like, you don't have to rush it, okay? Also, if you are moving the BPM for both tracks considerably, you're gonna need to make sure the tempo range is set to either plus or minus 16, or if you're moving it further than 16 beats per minute, then select wide. But when using wide, be really mindful when touching the tempo fader, as it's going to be super sensitive. So I'll give you two examples now. Firstly, I'll mix in after the last chorus over the outro, and I'll show you slowing down the tempo. And then what I'll do is I'll mix into the middle of a track, and I'll show you how to use the build up of a track to increase the tempo. Okay, let's do it.
I give a rhyme on dust, guaranteed to make it right if your night is a bust. Dust, I give a rhyme on dust, guaranteed to make it right if your night is a bust. Dust, I give a rhyme on dust, guaranteed to make it right if your night is a bust. Dust, I give a rhyme on dust, guaranteed to make it right if your night is a bust. Dust, I give a rhyme on dust, guaranteed to make it right if your night is a bust. Dust, I give a rhyme on dust, guaranteed to make it right if your night is a bust. Dust, I give a rhyme on dust, guaranteed to make it right if your night is a bust. Dust, I give a rhyme on dust, guaranteed to make it right if your night is a bust. Dust, I give a rhyme on dust, guaranteed to make it right if your night is a bust. Dust, I give a rhyme on dust.
No doubt this example is the most dramatic transition, okay? And there's no way I'd do this more than once or twice in a set, but if you did it occasionally, it can make a real statement. You know, it can be a really good way to bring in something big, and another great way to kind of do a big BPM jump, because I can just sort of like slow this song right down and just hit play with my new song. But if you are doing a dramatic transition like this, like an effect, you do want to bring something cool in. Okay, so this is a 20 BPM difference between them both. I'm just going to go from like a melodic house into like a trance song actually. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pitch down the exiting song to an actual halt. Pitch it down so far the song actually stops using the tempo fader here. But what I mean by pitching is, have a listen. When I hit play and move the tempo fade up, that's changing the speed, but it's not changing the pitch because the master tempo button's on and that's holding the pitch of the song. So if I take that off and move the tempo fade up, then that becomes like a way to pitch, you know, that changes the key, changes the sound of the song. But in this case, I want to actually slow the song right down to a halt. So I'm going to move the tempo range to wide. Then listen, I'll be like, and I can just move that slow. Say I did that at the end of the chorus or a bit where it's kind of pulling back anyway, then I can just hit play on my new song. And it kind of makes a statement. Let me show you. All in all, being a DJ is an amazing opportunity to connect like-minded people through creating atmospheres that really connect people and bring them together. Like it's like you can play a set and honestly, it gets people talking, it gets people out of their heads. And that's the goal these days, man. Like, you know, for a lot of people, it's dark times. So going to parties, it's an opportunity to kind of like celebrate life and to get out of your heads. And it's your job as a DJ to get people into their hearts, to get people dancing. And you need to do that by actually playing music that people resonate with. And too often I'm seeing DJs playing it safe, you know, and even myself, like people can hop into certain genres, which is great. But trust me, if you turn up to a house party and you're a techno DJ and you're playing nothing but techno, but everyone there wants R&B and hip hop, well, you got to ask yourself a question. Do you just play for you? Even though your job is to create atmosphere for people. So being able to play to the people there, it's really, really important. And I've learned that lesson 1,000 times over. And really, if it does come down to a choice between giving everyone a music lesson on what you think they should like, or actually playing to the crowd and then feeling that atmosphere that's coming from the audience, there's nothing like it. So use your sets to bring people together and break out of the box and like try and mess around with like mixing different BPMs, different genres. And even if you never do it live, at least you're able to. Anyway, man, I dive way deeper in my course into everything, but hopefully this video gets you thinking. And for me, I love making them. So thank you so much for your support. And yeah, hopefully you found this video helpful.